Live a fuck yes life has become one of my favorite sayings. Now, I have a lot of favorite sayings, but recently this one has climbed its way all the way to the top of the list and is sticking there pretty steadily. Because for so long during my struggle with infertility, I was not doing this. I was too worried about making people uncomfortable. I was too worried about being dubbed the depressed girl. I was too worried about sharing how I actually was feeling on any given day, because it really varied. It was like a seesaw of emotion. So today, I want to talk with you about how I learned I was not living a fuck yes life because I was doing all the wrong shit. And I want to tell you what that shit was. So for those that don't know me, my name is Shannon Wooten. I am a lifestyle infertility coach, and I help women who feel disconnected from their bodies heal by owning infertility sucks, but you don't. So I learned I was not living an F yes life because I was focusing on all the wrong things. And I want to tell you what those things were. So number one, stop focusing on saying yes to everybody else and focus more on saying yes to your F yes life. Decide the kind of person you want to be and go out and be that person. The opinions of people who you do not gel with really don't matter. And I know that there's going to be somebody that comes back and combats this. There's even that side of my own brain, again, crazy lives here, that says, hey, you can't just hear what you want to hear all the time. And I agree with that to a certain extent. If you're going through a struggle, or if you're not going through a struggle, and you are more focused on what the opinions of other people are versus your own, your focus is wrong. Your focus is off. Your focus should always be about, how do I get to the next level of happiness in here? And I know it's going to be something that you've heard before, and I'm going to say it again. It might be annoying, but take it as you will. I'm going to roll the dice. You can't make anybody else happy if you are not happy. And if you are not happy, that F yes life is going to take a walk out the door. So stop focusing on saying yes to everybody else more than you are saying yes to yourself and the things that are going to make this feel happy. Two is, being complicated is completely okay. As I just said, crazy lives here. I tell everybody that. I tell people I work with, my husband knows that, my brothers, my cousins, my friends. Crazy lives here. My emotions can be all over the place at any given time, and you are allowed to be complicated. You are allowed to have all the feelings. You know why? It's so awesome. You're not two-dimensional. You are not just one type of person. And I say this all the time, and it's not to be redundant, but you have more than one emotion in your arsenal. And because you have more than one emotion in your arsenal, you have several opinions too. You're a very complicated person. So trying to make yourself everything to all people is never going to happen. As I said, the opinions of other people for whom you do not gel with do not matter. It is not your responsibility to make them feel great. It is your responsibility to you to do the things that you need to do to live a fuck yes life. And if you are a yes person all the time, you're never going to make yourself feel happy because you're always going to be giving in to what you think other people want you to say or other people want you to do. I was guilty of this as well. I was guilty of not wanting to share my feelings about how sad I really was with everybody because I didn't want to feel like the wet blanket, but I really felt that way. I really felt like a wet blanket. So what's the point of putting on a facade? I understand that you don't want to stay in your depression, you don't want to be sad, but you got to own your feelings. You got to own how you really are. You're complicated. You are more than 2D. So stop pretending like if somebody says to you, oh my gosh, I love cheese, that you have to say, oh, get out of town. I love cheese too. If you don't really like cheese. I myself, if I had a brick of cheese, I'd be bound up for days. So be yourself. Own that you're complicated. The quicker that you own that you're complicated and that maybe your favorite color is black, you're the kind of girl like me that doesn't love pink and is not a girl's girl. That's cool. You're allowed to be whoever the fuck you want to be to live a fuck yourself to focus on the positives more than you focus on the negatives. And this is a little bit more difficult because staying negative is like waiting for positivity to happen to you. It's never gonna happen to you. It's like holding your breath, waiting for happiness. Eventually you need to exhale or you're gonna die. I mean, you need to breathe. So you need to not continue to focus on the positive as I need to get to be positive. I need to get to this like it's some golden pot at the end of a rainbow. Positive is not something that you go out and you purchase. Happiness is not something that you put a credit card or the little chip reader in at the grocery store and you just, hey, now you have some happiness. It doesn't work that way. You have to force yourself to take the action to say, I'm having negative thoughts, I'm having negative feelings. I need to put that much energy into being positive too. Ultimately, focusing on outside influences, people outside of you are gonna make you feel worse about yourself because you're always trying to sustain their level of happy, always trying to sustain their vision of you or what you think they think of you. That is not gonna work. And I know there's gonna be people out there that are gonna say, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be nice to other people or wanting to do things for other people. Yeah, I'm not even close to touching that right now. What I'm saying is, if you're continually living your life for somebody else, for anything other than, here are the things that make you happy, and owning that, and knowing that there's gonna be opposition, knowing that people are gonna disagree with you, knowing that people are gonna come out and say, you should spend more time with your family, you should spend more time doing this, you should focus more on that. It is not your job to do all the things that they need you to do. It is your job to do all the things that you need you to do. Because that's how you live a fuck yes life. Living in F yes life, because using fuck it's overusage sometimes. You just need the F word. You know what I'm saying? We're all adults here. Living in F yes life means you have to stop worrying about who you're supposed to be to everybody else. And more so focus on being honest with your feelings to you. Be honest to yourself. If you're sad, I'm sad. How do I get happy? Focus on that trajectory. Stop focusing on, I need to be happy because I don't want my mom to be worried about me. I need to be happy because I don't want my husband to think that I'm miserable and he doesn't find me attractive anymore, or we can't do things that are fun. No, lying to yourself about all the reasons why you need to be happy for someone else is only going to keep you more miserable. And guess what? Them too. Because the longer you lie to yourself, the longer you're miserable. So be honest with your feelings and get excited. Get freaking excited about liberating yourself. Taking ownership of, hey, I'm responsible for all of my feelings and I'm responsible for how happy or how miserable I am is truly liberating. From someone speaking to somebody else on the other side of this video who struggles with depression or has a moment of pause or is struggling with infertility, I gotta tell you, there is nothing more liberating in your struggle than owning that you're sad and you don't wanna be anymore. Or owning that you're sad and that you're not ready to process your feelings about it. There's nothing more liberating than saying, I need to focus on me and everything that is making me feel all kinds of funky in here before I can get my happy back, so I can get my happy back. And in processing how you feel and stopping yourself dead in your tracks from trying to be everything to everybody else, because I'm going to tell you, it is not possible. So in process of stopping trying to be everything to everybody else, you become accountable to yourself. And you become accountable to the things that are ultimately going to become these flashing signs of here's what's going to make you feel fulfilled that you've been ignoring. The longer you stay ignoring the things that are going to make you say fuck yes about your life because they're too scary, or you don't want to put somebody else out, or it changes what people think about you, the quicker you're going to get to the actual fuck yes of that life. It is totally, unequivocally not your responsibility to fit into a mold. You're allowed to grow at whatever pace you want to grow at. You're allowed to be as selfish as you need to be to get through a struggle. You're allowed to be as complicated as you want to be as a human, and you are certainly allowed to say to anybody, but mostly yourself, I'm going through a tough time and I need to switch gears and I need to start focusing on me so I can get to the happy of my fuck yes life. So if you are in a position where you're not focusing on yourself, you're worried that you're too complex and nobody will understand you and that you're too negative for anybody to hear about your problems, stop doing that. Stop it. I'm not saying that I have to give you this permission, but I feel like sometimes when people breathe things into life, it gives us that permission. It gives us the ability to do something. So I'm going to say it right now. I give you permission to release yourself of all this pressure that you're putting on yourself. It is not your job to fit into a mold. It's not your job to make anybody feel comfortable about the decisions that you make in your life and ultimately hoping that they're good for you decisions. And it is not your job to do anything other than the things that are going to make you feel fulfilled and live your best fucking life. All right, guys, I truly love you. My heart is always with you. I thank you so much for signing on as always. Throw me some hearts, some likes if you enjoyed this video. Hop on over to Life with Shannon. Shoot me a comment, anything that you want to hear about or have a dialogue about. I truly appreciate you, and I truly appreciate keeping this dialogue open because you're not a freak, you're not weird, you're not alone if you're depressed or you're struggling. You're one of many, and I'm one of you. All right, guys, I love you so much. Be easy. Have a great week. Do good things to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Bye.